Eloise on the show talking to us about the H-1B visa. It's actually quite interesting when you hear her take of like the language was not very clear. And whilst everyone on Twitter goes wild for it, the reality of the situation is this thing doesn't kick in for another year. And what does that mean exactly? Eloise gave a great example. Go back, watch it. And she explains that actually it's going to not hurt the large corps as much. It's going to hurt some of these slightly smaller companies who can't afford to bring in that specialist anymore. And so they are constantly weighing up if bringing this person in is actually going to give them more value, or is it better to hire an American from America? One thing I will say is it's going to open up the floodgates for talent to move elsewhere, potentially. If this is a long drawn out process, the reality is that you might see people moving to Canada, or Canada attracting talent, or the UK attracting talent, or Europe attracting talent, or potentially just staying within their countries. Obviously, the US is very much in this space right now where they are America first, period. That's great for them, right? I think more countries should collectively think like that from time to time. They are taking a hard line. And what that means is that the rest of the world can attract this talent in. Now, does that mean that we are going to enter into that cycle in 50 years' time where we begin to do the same things as the bloc in Europe? Or are we going to keep this open? Are we going to make sure that we can attract talent to these countries and that talent can move freely and back to their own? Who knows? I do like it, though, for the rest of the world, because it's going to open up optionality of saying, hey, I actually might want to come to Europe and work for 11 Labs. I might want to come to France and work for Mistral, or I might want to go to Zurich and work amongst the startups that are in ETF. Who knows at the moment? Was it ETH? One of the two. Zurich Robotics. Or Silicon Valhalla in the Nordics. We're going to see a movement of high quality labor change over the course of the next year. And it's going to be very interesting to see how that pans out and what actually changes. So we'll definitely keep covering this. It's going to be very interesting. The reality, just to recap, is that the H-1B visa is not changing anything in the short term. What it does do is make people scenario plan for what is going to happen in 12 to 15 months. Very, very interesting. That's all I can say, really. I mean, like, we want to get on more people and have this dialogue. So if you've got thoughts, definitely you can come on the show. I wanted to break down something that happened in the last week. Trump was in town for his state visit. He brought with him what feels like the force of NVIDIA. And I've been seeing Jensen all over the feed. And so really wanted to spend some time and understand, one, what the European tech prosperity deal means, and how it is going to impact, what is the impact of this, but also try and explain it in simple terms, because it feels like the US has just come in and just deployed a lot of capital. So overall, it is billions of investment. I'm not sure how many billions, but a considerable amount. So we've got OpenAI, Stargate, NVIDIA investing in Nscale, Glue expanding the data center, Palantir investing 1.5 billion, Microsoft investing 22 billion, Oxford Quantum Circuits will build a quantum AI data center in New York. Salesforce investing 1.4 billion. CoreWeave is building a data center in Scotland. They put the data centers just so far away from everything. I guess the land. But he was in town and they brokered a deal, and we're gonna kind of break down that deal right now. And so when I was reading this and sort of circulating with friends, I was like, what do you think of this UK-US prosperity deal? They were like, Viraj, what the hell are you talking about? Like, what is this thing? So actually, it's sort of two major agreements that were signed, sealed, and now being delivered. The economic prosperity deal was announced on May 8th, 2025, between the Prime Minister and President Trump, and it established general terms for reducing the trade barriers and tariffs. That was that first one that Trump made a huge, big deal about. It's like, we're putting up tariffs on everyone, kind of did his trip around the world and sort of reorganized what those tariffs are. You know, he brought out the big piece of paper, whiteboard, and showed us specifically what that was. On our end, you know, we have always had this quote unquote special relationship with the US. And so for us, I think it was very much in the UK about making sure that we got a good deal on that end. I think he did a different deal with the bloc itself. But for the UK, this deal reduced significantly UK exports to the US, the tariff quotas on the UK exports to the US, including 100,000 unit quota for UK car exports, with tariffs being reduced from 27.5 to 10%. The agreement also covered steel, aluminium, and agriculture products, or aluminum if you're American, and agriculture products, with the UK creating a preferential duty-free quota for US beef of 13,000 metric tons a year. I don't know how, but 30,000 tons is a lot of beef. I'm not sure how much beef, but it's probably a couple warehouses full of beef. The technology prosperity deal was signed more recently on September 17th as he was in town during the state visit to the UK. And this one focuses very much on science and technology and on the collaboration in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and civil nuclear energy. The key initiatives were the prosperity deal, establishing joint research programs, as well as a bundle of other things. It strengthens the partnerships between the US Center of AI and the AI standards and innovation, the UK AI Security Institute, while creating a flagship AI for science research programs focusing on biotechnology and precision medicine, particularly cancer and chronic disease research. The deals have secured an unprecedented amount, totaling approximately 150 to 200 billion flowing between both countries. US companies, as I mentioned, led by Microsoft at 22 billion, Google at 5 billion, have pledged substantial UK investments, while Blackstone has committed 90 billion over 10 years. So 9 billion a year. These investments are likely to create 7,500 or 7,600 high quality jobs in the UK. Everyone's talking about this job exodus, this like no one can get jobs. I think the barriers move slightly and people are reevaluating what that means. They don't want just some intern consistently sitting there like getting coffee. The now is we want people that can add value today and actually hit the ground running. To break down this prosperity deal, this tech prosperity deal that they just signed a little more, let's really get into the nitty gritties. All right. This is going to be a fun one. The technology companies, Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA is investing 11 billion. Specifically, I know two of them are in 11 Labs and Synthesia. It's overall an 11 billion investment into UK AI ecosystem and startups. CoreWeave is doing 1.5 billion and Salesforce is doing 1.4. Palantir is doing 1.5 billion for the UK defense innovation leadership. We've got to get someone from Palantir on to talk about this. The job creation program is distributed across the UK. Belfast is getting 1,000 jobs. Glasgow, Warrington, the Midlands, and Northeast England, approximately 6,000 additional roles. In the US, this partnership is going to create 2,500 new roles. The northeast of England is designated as this AI growth zone. And so they're sort of trying to push investment into that area, bring it up. And I think they're building a data center there as well. It's not Stargate, but they are building it. The UK government is building a data center there. So what is the strategic implications and analysis of this? This UK technology dependence means that we're relying significantly on US artificial intelligence and technology infrastructure. And so, critics have argued that we are sort of picking at the crumbs of Silicon Valley and that we will never have genuine technological sovereignty. I think Dan from Superseed talks a lot about this in this economic sovereignty, or the Superseed team does. It's very, very, very interesting. Why? Because as I've mentioned before, we all need a version of our own AI for our own people within our countries, right? The economic bloc requires one. The UK needs one. Because we want ownership over this incredibly powerful technology so that we can distribute it to the people of the world, right? And actually give value and genuinely push the needle a little bit more. So what does this mean? It probably means we're going to be reliant on US companies for a lot more. And that's a positive thing because they're moving at an incredible rate. But Does that mean we're going to slow down our own innovation is the question. We've got to get boots on the ground and actually go and interview these people and understand, does this change anything for you? So as an example, Synthesia and 11 Labs are consistently going to be powered by NVIDIA GPUs, or they're going to be having an investment. What that investment looks like, we're not too sure yet. But does that mean that you're going to slack when those markets are consistently bigger? Probably not. But what about for everyone else? Questions unanswered yet. The economic vulnerability concerns. The politicians are doing their thing and celebrating these figures because it probably looks like a win for the Labour government. And the majority of investments are in planning phases, with Google and Microsoft data centers projecting accounting for most pledged capital. Historical precedent suggests that grand investment announcements often face significant implementation challenges. We're going to see if this actually pans out. One is, does the money turn up? And two, what is the effect of this capital injection? Geopolitically, obviously, we're a huge technology partner to the US. It's one of our biggest markets globally. It's the biggest market in the world currently. Capitalism at its core, we love to see it. And explicitly aims to counter non-market policies of third countries. This is probably from the US cornering off the UK as like own territory in some regard of like, let's put the deal together that keeps us close. And they're probably referring to like Chinese trade practices, let's be perfectly honest. The UK willingness to adopt a less stringent regulatory approach aligns with its US preference, contrasting the EU's more intervenous stance. Kind of want to bring it back slightly, man. We just want to let go of the ropes a bit. Let's rock and roll. Let's let these people build. All things EU Inc. How is this going to get set out? This is actually really interesting. The ministerial oversight structure. The technology prosperity deal establishes a ministerial level working group within 6 months to guide bilateral cooperation, set priorities, and oversee implementation. Annual formal discussions will assess progress and determine future collaborative program decisions or directions. Some provisions took effect immediately or within weeks of signing. The automotive tariff became operational through the presidential executive order. Aerospace tariff elimination similarly took immediate effect. And steel and aluminum negotiations still have not made it through or are without resolution currently. The UK government expedited parliamentary procedures to implement beef and ethanol quotas. Critical assessments. The automotive quota of 100,000 units provides meaningful relief for the luxury manufacturers like JLR and Jaguar Land Rover, but doesn't impact mass market production, given the current UK export volumes. Well, just means they're going to sell less Aston Martins in the US. What is the long-term strategic concerns? We are obviously binding our supply chain of AI to the US. Providing investment and jobs is great. What that means and what exactly that high quality labor is going to look like, high quality roles are going to look like, we are wait to see. They're going to probably revolve around data centers. The arrangement may limit UK flexibility for future technology policy decisions. Goes back to what we said earlier around the UK binding itself to the US in some capacity. Not that there's anything wrong with that. They're moving ahead at considerable speed. But there is a level of ownership that is required, I think, in today's day and age. And what does that mean in the context of AI? This deal represents a calculated bet by the UK government, and that alignment with US technology will pay off long term because they are moving at breakneck speed and cadence. And it just means that the companies have to deliver on their strategic promises. The UK-US prosperity deal ultimately reflects Britain's post-Brexit strategy of deepening ties with key allies. We left the block, and we decided we wanted to partner up with everyone else. It's okay. We are sort of getting caught in between this power play between the US and China, as you can probably imagine. Very, very, very intriguing. Geopolitically, the position the UK-US relationship as an alternative to multilateral trade frameworks like EU partnerships. The TPD deepens this alignment by creating exclusive bilateral cooperation mechanisms in critical technologies. The partnership in nuclear fuel as one of them, or nuclear fuel independence. The AI standards development, I think that's quite a unique one that has sort of fallen under the rug for a lot of people. And the quantum computing effectively binds the UK to US technological leadership strategies. Dependency versus partnership. Systemic dependency on US tech, but doesn't the most of the world? The North England is the AI growth zone, as mentioned. Strategic coherence. Did you know that there was... In short, it's just aligning ourselves to the US. That's like, at its core, it's that. We are making sure that we have access to the best technology and the best infrastructure from the West, and making sure that there is a deal in place to allow us to use that technology. And that is, some of that investment is flowing into the UK. Is it going to be good? We need to find out. We'll have to get some of these companies on to talk about their investments, what it means, what it actually looks like, and how much respectively is that being plugged into their companies, and what are they going to do with that capital? Does it mean that they can build their own moats, or in reality is it something different? What I will say is this is probably a good day. Like, it's a good deal in the short term. We're going to see how it plays out long term, and we're going to figure out how much fun it is going to be to just supercharge building. We did need our own data centers, and if we've got a Stargate project, or the people that are also building Stargate in the mix in the US, we're going to be in a good place. Wow, it is fun talking to the camera. Our docket is ready and waiting for our next guest. She'll be joining us shortly in the next 20 minutes, Hannah from Ampli Ventures. But just to recap a little bit, Eloise was on the show for the first half an hour talking to us about the H-1B visa and the impact that it's going to have on US workers, or US talent more specifically, because, well, hey, the restrictions that people thought were being put in place are not taking effect for another year. So the reality is that nothing's changing, but she was mentioning that they're telling their clients that actually you should stay put. Like, don't leave the country. Maybe just stay in the US, travel within the US, but try not to leave, because we don't know if you're going to get back in potentially, is an argument that could be made. It seems like this government is quite fluid. They are moving at speed, and this is just another one of those situations. We'll see how that affects talent globally. The initial sentiment is that if you restrict talent into the US by making it more of a higher cost, that talent can potentially be in other areas now. They can flow into the UK, they can flow into Europe, they can flow into the Middle East. And so, as Eloise was telling us, that the highest applicants are from Indian or Chinese nationals. The reality is that maybe that flows towards Europe, that maybe that flows towards the UK as well. We will wait and see. I know Starmer came out with a press release that they are going to reduce the cost of our talent visa so that we can attract these people in. We will, if so, puts us in a good position to attract talent to the UK and really push the boundaries when it comes to innovation. There is this sentiment that the Valley was built on top of the H-1B visa, because it could attract that talent in. We're going to have to see if that same impact happens here. Do we have the ecosystem and do we have the infrastructure built and ready to rock and roll to allow for this hypergrowth? We're going to find out. Next on the docket is Hannah from Ampli Ventures. We then got Ashkan from 01 Creative. Mimi Billings is joining us. Billing is joining us. Daniel Bobrook, Henry Hayes, Harriet from Superseed, Mikale, and KOD are joining us on the docket. This episode, or this live stream, is made possible by our good partners from ACI.dev, Newsmark, and Dojo AI. They're great. We are going to make sure that they come on the show and you can actively see what these guys are up to, what these cracked teams are up to. Our partner network is one of the best in the world, and we love to have these companies as our partners. So we love it. We're looking forward to seeing you. ACI.dev, Newsmark with Dhruv. They are currently out in the Valley. They're coming back soon, hopefully. And we obviously have Dojo AI with Duarte, talk all things marketing. So those are our partners. That's the docket. we're looking forward to our next guest, who is probably going to be in the show in a couple of minutes. What a time to be alive. It's been a fun week. I mean, like, what else has been going on? We have Revolut opening their building today. It looks like something out of, God, it looks like something out of Batman. Genuinely, when you walk out of Canary Wharf Station, you see this thing looming over you. It's like a black fortress. It is the Batcave of all things fintech. And they got a great product. They're obviously ripping at the moment. They're probably going to list in the US, which sucks for the rest of the world. But it's the right move for the company. And that's the main thing. I'm looking forward to seeing the inside of the office. We wanted to get them on the stream today, but we weren't able to make it happen. It's going to have to be next week. But looking forward to it nonetheless. We're just riffing today. Absolutely riffing for the next 15 minutes before our next guest comes. What else has been happening? We had Veed last week talking about Fabric 1.0. That was a great segment, really pushed on those questions. We had, what else did we have last week? We had, oh God, how can I forget? We had OpenAI on the docket. Nico from Singulate, Ben from Veed, Andrea from Thrad, Soma from ETA Technologies, Grace Andrews, coming on the show, Bryony from PT1, Alec from 11 Labs, Elliot from Lovable, Moises talking to us about his FDA clearance and how they can go full tilt in the US. And then obviously Seb from the Actioners Residency. I know a couple of the UK startups or cracked devs are out there currently now in the Actioners Residency, staying over and, locking in for this 25 back end of 2025 lock-in. It's the winter lock-in now, as people are calling it. Yeah. What a time to be alive. So we are currently waiting. We are in the midst. We had a dropout on the show. We couldn't fit it with another segment. So you've got me. We've been breaking down the US prosperity deal. Or have to, you know what? Let's get on the timeline. Let's see what the timeline's up to. Dwarkash Patel is on the timeline. He's talking to us July 25th. Is that where we're at? No, that is, wow, that was a long time ago. Last year, he's talking to us about the H-1B visa. Once I turned 21, I would age out as this dependent, despite the fact that I basically grew up in the US. I thought I would have become a code monkey after college, and even that only if I was lucky enough to win the H-1B lottery. Otherwise, back to India. I become a huge fan of Paul Graham's essays in college. I actually depressed that my desire to start a startup or do something entrepreneurial was basically hopeless. Working on the promising podcast I was doing as a side project, a beyond possible pipe dream. Even after 9 years, my dad wasn't able to get a green card and the lines were only getting longer over that time. I figured I'd be an old man before I could quit some fang job and build my own thing. It was all for this unbelievable coincidence. I would not be hosting a podcast. I'm incredibly grateful that I made it through. He was talking about the H-1B visa here. But it's unconscionable that we put kids of highly skilled immigrants through this anxiety, and in many cases, make them repeat the nerve-wracking indentured life trajectory they watch their parents go through. There's going to be some pushback on this H-1B, that's for sure. Some of the effects. The top 25 visa employees in the UK: Amazon.com, Cognizant, Ernst & Young, Tata Consultancy. This is from AIM Investments posting this. Google. The average salary sort of sits around, wow, Meta pays a seriously high average salary, 199,944. Damn. JP Morgan, IBM, well, in order: Amazon, Cognizant, Ernst & Young, Tata, Google, Microsoft, Infosys, Meta, Intel, HCL America, AWS, IBM. Obviously, they're two separate entities. JP Morgan Chase, Walmart, Apple, Accenture, Capgem, LT Mindtree, Deloitte, Salesforce, Qualcomm, Tesla, Amazon Development Center, Wipro, Fidelity, with an average salary at the start of a number of LCAs at 10,969 for Amazon and 1,406 for Fidelity Technology Group. Let's see what else was in the timeline. Guillermo was in London. Guillermo Roche from Vrissel was doing a fireside chat at Dawn Capital. We I wasn't invited, didn't get the invites, but we love G. We love what he stands for. We love the Cursor team. V0 is an incredible product coming out of the US. I love the fact that the man in that team is so back end and front end. It's going to be a lot of fun seeing how that product progresses. We got Naval on the feed talking about new iPhones need new capabilities, not new specs. Here we go. We've got Guillaume Roche on. Is AI a bubble? Is there an AI bubble? Why Nishmia has a badge and what it's like to run Vercel today. That's pretty cool. Anton has just been sending people DMs. I don't know if this is true or not. We're going to have to fact check this, but sent Henrik a DM and now he's at Lovable. Just come join Lovable on October 3rd, 2024. How wild is that? Hosting a hardware resident, some guy, Aiden, Super 8N, insane. X is the most wildest place. It's so dialed into technology in a way that LinkedIn just isn't. Guillermo on the feed on September 21st. A brilliant man, Matt Trevinzo, physicist, entrepreneur, art investor, husband, father, and friend, has passed away. Said goodbyes. What a time to be alive, huh? The iPhone Air aesthetics. For once, Steve Jobs isn't rolling in his grave. What do we think of the iPhone Air? Obviously, Apple released the iPhone Air, the iPhone Pro Max. There isn't a Plus model anymore. The Air is a completely new shell, and the Pro, or the Pro Max, is now in an aluminium shell. I think they've gone back to the beginning, or it was stainless steel, and they've gone back to aluminium. Stainless steel, titanium, aluminium. They've reconfigured the entire design process. Did you notice, might I say, that on that release video, when they did it live, I'm not sure if it's on the ones afterwards, but actually it was a female voice that sounded very much like Johnny Ive. It was an English accent. It made you feel that they were coming back to their roots when it came back to the Pro Max. I thought you caught me out there, Apple. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was great. We'll have to be getting one and testing those out. What else have we been up to? I think Porsche has reverted on their EV goals, and the Cayenne is going to be coming out in a petrol, not a full electric motor, although I do believe they still have one of those coming out. What else have we got going on here? There was an earthquake in California, although I think that happens quite often. NVIDIA is consistently investing in 11 labs. We covered this. It's pretty good. Looking forward to what Matty says about that. What does Matty say about that, actually? Let's see. Well, they've got the tender coming out. Last week, US state visit. Cool. What are they saying? Yeah, there's memes of NVIDIA like collecting infinity stones from all of these startups. Someone saying that they can't tell if it's Jensen's real voice or another AI flex. Wild. This is insane. Pump it to 11, buddy. When Jensen shows up, it's not charity, it's strategy. This is brilliant. This is so good. Congratulations. It's heartening to see the first thing you say about your co-founder, the crack team you guys have put together. Yes, tie this together. Robots won't have keyboards. I need 11 labs that level control of my audio conversations. 11 labs with the real-time audio. The entire future of AI. This is nuts. This is brilliant. I would love to be a fly on the wall during that conversation. Notice that they also met Synthesia in the same place. So obviously Jensen's doing the rounds. People are coming to Jensen, and whilst it looks like Jensen's coming to us, it's definitely strengthened these ties. the man is a formidable force, has quite literally not pioneered, but brought the GPUs into existence. I still find it hilarious. I'm not sure about you, but I've been saying this multiple times over. The fact that we have, like, not fully, but some of this AI boom, the fact that we have compute at this level right now is because of the GPUs that NVIDIA has been producing, right? They've sort of been one of these pioneers. They've been on the bleeding edge. Why and how have they stayed in production for so long? What has kept them afloat during the winters of AI that, or maybe it's just like the precursor to GPT, the GPUs? Who kept buying GPUs? The gamers. So you could make the argument that actually gaming was good for our childhood because they allowed us to innovate. They funded the innovation that NVIDIA then pushed into their GPUs, kept making better, and then we finally ended up someone using them for AI. How awesome is that? So thank your kids, the fact that you can now use ChatGPT on your phone, because they are the ones that, wanted to play games, wanted to consistently make sure that they had the best GPU graphics cards for their relevant games or consoles or computers. So all of those kids that you told gaming was a waste of your time, the reason that you are able to now go to work, talk into a keyboard, or use ChatGPT to reframe an email, it's because of them. It's because you allowed them to play games. So we thank you. The games are where it was at. That's really where we want to play. Yeah. Gaming, underrated. Yeah. Don't sleep on gaming. People think that, oh, hey, we're just gonna, just let it slide. Nope. I'm gonna make sure people remember this, even if I have to put it on my back. What a time to be alive. What else is going on the feed? That was Maddie talking. That was us looking at Maddie. I really want to. I wish the Europe had such a vocal figure within this. What is our good friends at EUINC up to? Andreas was on the show 2 or 3 weeks ago. September 1st, he goes, AC this, wash, dryer that, US woo-hoo, EU boo-hoo. Why are we eating this brand warfare from the outside about us up? Europe has the strongest precision manufacturing in the world. We have leading teams in AI, CV, robotics. Europe is a leader in automation and frontier technology. Not a single NVIDIA chip could be produced without European machines. Not a single American cloud robotics or deep tech firm would operate without European manufacturing or suppliers. We are too humble, brainwashed to never celebrate Europe, and this is what this show does. It celebrates it by outsiders and our local politicians. We need to uplift the ecosystem, uplift. Time for a change. Europe is the birthplace of industrialization, the home of frontier technology. Time like we act like it. Welcome to the real Europe. What a time. How incredible is this? And then you've got to go watch the video. We'll tag it in the relevant places after the show. It is one hell of a hype video. It's the one that we play at the start of the stream. We have Guillaume Flor an hour ago. Why do the best European startups still go to Delaware? One company type, one set of rules, one safe that every VC understands. Europe, 27 versions of everything, company laws, stock options, financing instruments, slow deals. It adds costs and bleeds talent to the US. We're going to see how that pans out over the next couple of years. That's why 16,000 founders and investors, DeepL, Mistral, Revolut, Wise, Index Ventures, Stripe, are backing the EU petition. What do they want? They want one EU-wide company type. They want a European safe. They want unified ESOPs. They want 48-hour online setup. The 28th regime is what they're calling it. Done right, it's Europeans Delaware moment. The consultation closes 30th September. Founders, VCs, operators, now's the time to speak up. They want people to go and sign the petition. They want people to sign up and add to that list. It's important. It's deeply important. We've got Luke M and oh, that's cool. Someone's building TVPM for Europe. EUNT.com, the European Technology Network. We're building the TBPN for Europe, introducing EUTN.com. Luke, Knight, and Ronan are doing this. Oh, this is cool. I guess more distribution for UK companies and European companies. How awesome is that? I like the hype video. It says their first message is time to build. It seems like they've copied the TVPN. I love it. It's good energy. That's what we're here for. Let's bring it to life. Boys, we're gonna have to get you on the show. We're gonna have to make sure that there's some sort of collaboration. Live streaming on X and YouTube, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Tuesday and Thursday. The technology show built for Europe, hosted by Luke Knight and Rowan Chambers. Well, it should be quite interesting. You should tune in. Going to be a fun time. Seems like we're all cannibalizing on each other's networks. Going to be fun. Going to be enjoyable. We're going to have to wait and see how this pans out. Starting from, they seem to have a new show. I don't know when it's starting. Hopefully soon. Hopefully next week. I'm looking forward to tuning in. We might have to like live stream some of this, us watching them. Our next guest is in the show. We're going to have to tune her in. This breaking news has been fun. Thank you for the segment. So we have our good friend Hannah Mayton from Ampy Ventures joining us very, very shortly. Hannah, how are we? Can you see me? Can you hear me, Hannah? I'm doing incredibly well.